Hello! Gonna be doing a update on some pickups for the, I want to say record collection. Turn this thing around, that way I'm not looking at it. Gonna do an update on some pickups for the music collection. I'd like to say record collection, but it's not only records that I'm going to be including in this, or in these videos I should say, due to the fact that I don't only collect records. There's some music that I'd like to own so I can listen to it at home or out and about, you know, that I can't find on vinyl. I'm not going to be listening to vinyl when I'm out and about, but, you know, I can pick up a CD of something I can't find on vinyl and, you know, put it on my computer, and then I can put it on my iTunes and onto my phone, which allows me to listen to it, regardless of the fact that I can't find it on vinyl. So I'm just going to go through a couple CDs here first. I picked them up the past couple days. I traded in some records and used the trade credit to get a CD that I had been looking for. Well, I wasn't looking for a CD. I'd like the vinyl, but it's hard to find at this point. There's an album by 9 Inch Nails that came out in 2008, and it's called Ghosts 1 to 4. It's a double CD, cool gatefold here. It's kind of nice because if you actually take the discs out, which, speaking of which, I really love the artwork on. I love all the photos and all the, just the art direction of this album in general. Very cool. But yeah, as you can see there, it's kind of like a panoramic photo of a desert. Same sort of idea going on the back cover there. And, you know, it takes looking at the inner artwork and noticing those sorts of details to acknowledge that that's what you're looking at on the front too. It's just higher contrast. It's like a big dune. And I think that's kind of cool. It's clever. Because a lot of these songs, you know, if you just close your eyes, they take you somewhere. They're very sonically different and almost dissonant in comparison to one another. You know, at one point there's lush sounding, rich plucking of strings, and, you know, like cello. I'm not sure if there is any cello, but you know what I mean. Like, there's all these different instruments you wouldn't expect to hear, but then it goes right into crunchy, distorted, you know, rock sounding stuff that 9 Inch Nails is known for putting out. Great album, I recommend everyone check it out. I should mention it's an instrumental album, there's no lyrics. Definitely worth it, worth checking out. Also, I'm just going to do a quick flip through the booklet here. I always like when CDs come with a little bit of artwork or, you know, a lyric sheet or something like that, because that's one of the main draws that I have when it comes to vinyl. I like the larger artwork. I like getting, you know, the inserts and reading the lyrics and the photos and whatnot. Everything's larger. It's like everything's bigger in Texas. It's like vinyl is larger than life in the same way. So it's nice when you get, you know, some of the similar things with CDs. Anyway, I'll just do a quick flip through. Some really cool photos from, I imagine, the making of this album. Looks like Trent or Atticus playing with some effects pedals. This is a really cool shot too. It's like the pedals on a keyboard or organ, piano, and just like a scuffed up, dirty old boot stepping on it. You know, like hitting the pedals. I don't know whose boot that is. Your guess is as good as mine, but... Now this is really incredible too. It just kind of shows the scope of the kind of, I guess, masterful handle that both Trent and Atticus have on old analog equipment, you know, because if you listen to this album you can tell that it's pretty experimental, and they probably, you know, just stumbled upon some of the things that are featured in it. But here you can kind of see, you know, like, that's a big synthesizer, or multiple synthesizers. I don't know. I don't know crap all about that sort of thing, so I wish I did. If I had a synth or something, maybe I would learn, but I don't. It just amazes me. Pardon me. It just amazes me seeing, you know, how complex of an instrument the synthesizer is. Looks like Atticus there, transposing or putting some tunes that were written down on sheet music into whatever program they use. This is a neat shot too. Just a shift of focus. Some wires. And that's about it for that. Next off, I'm not going to get really into these. I didn't get these recently, but I might as well have, because I haven't really listened to this band at all. But I've had these CDs for, nearly 10 years, and I don't know what I was, thinking. Not listening to them. I was definitely missing out. But I was contemplating getting the new Alice in Chains album, Rain or Fog, and I thought, you know what? Maybe I should listen to their old music before I start listening to their new music. So I started checking out Jar of Flies, which is a really, really good EP. Really enjoy it. And Dirt, which is also fantastic. And like I was saying, in regard to having CDs as opposed to vinyl, I would prefer having the vinyl, but a CD will still allow me to listen to it. It'll still allow me to, whatever, you know what I mean? Collect the music. So those are great albums, EP and album, I guess I should say. And when I went and got Ghosts here, I had seen 2 other CDs from 9 Inch Nails that I had wanted, but I wasn't sure, if I had the cash for it at the moment, so I didn't pick them up. But I went back the next day, because I did have the cash for it. And I got them. So one of them here, I'd really like to have this on vinyl, because as far as I know, the CDs aren't very hard to come by, hence why they're $3 to $4 generally. But the vinyl is more likely difficult to find. Oh, pardon me, this is still early. Yeah, the vinyl's more difficult to find, CD's not so difficult to find, but I'm happy to have it nonetheless, because it's another addition to my 9 Inch Nails collection. At this point, I believe I have more of their music on CD than I do on vinyl. Maybe incorrect, but it's maybe 50-50. Either way, I got the single for Sin on CD, and one of the main reasons that I wanted this, I love the artwork there. Just the metallic Sin logo. I'd like to get a tattoo of that. That'd be pretty wicked. Same artwork on the disc, and then you open it up and it's got the Nin logo in the same kind of font as the Sin logo at the front. One of the biggest draws for getting this for me was the fact that there is a a cover of Get Down, Make Love on the back here. You can see above my finger. It's a cover of a song by Queen, and I really enjoy Queen's version, and I really enjoy 9 Inch Nails' version. I can't tell you which I like more, because they're both fantastic. But that was one main reason for getting this. I wanted to have that song, and as you can see there's a couple different takes on the song Sin. And the long version, I actually enjoy it. It's got some instrumental kind of flares in between the, commonly known parts of the song, as we generally know it. And next up, when I went and got that one as well, I picked up Year Zero, because I've been meaning to get this forever. I want the vinyl just the same as the Sin single there, but I gotta wait for it to be reissued. I think they're reissuing With Teeth and Year Zero, as well as the Quake soundtrack, something along those lines. You can check it out on their merch page online. But yeah, great album. Needed to have it. It's been too long not having it. Kind of cool artwork showing, I guess, 2 different ends of one spectrum. Back here you got a really awesome photo of some post-apocalyptic looking landscape. This also came with a lyric booklet. There's not a whole lot going on for artwork in there, so I'm not going to really pull it out. And the disc here, if you can see, maybe you can, maybe you can't. It's got some artwork on it. It's kind of concealed by a color changing ink, I guess. It's printed in this this ink that changes color as it heats up. So when you play the CD, the images appear. Otherwise it kind of just appears like it's colored gray. Then on the back here, you get a good example of their marketing campaign for the CD. There was stuff like that, and USBs put in like the toilets of venues where they were playing when this album came out. Lots of like just weird stuff, you know, like phone numbers being left around. And you call them and you get a distorted clip of one of the new songs. Ooh. And yeah, moving on. Another great example of something that I would much prefer to have on vinyl, but I haven't, you know, pulled the trigger on spending $50 on it. Audioslave, their self-titled album. Fantastic album. There's a sale going on at Into the Music, one of the local shops that I tend to frequent for vinyl. It's 50% off used stuff right now, and I think 25% off new stuff. So I got this for like $2, and you know what? It's in basically mint condition. No real damage or anything to the disc. It's in great shape. $2 was a good deal for it, better than paying $5 to $10 for it new. Happy to have that, put it on my iTunes and whatnot already. So I got a lot of new music to listen to when I'm out and about, which is nice. Now, onto the vinyl pickups. There's just 2 records here I'm going to show you. I'm going to try and keep it short because I've already blabbed for too long. But I've been getting into the Talking Heads pretty heavily the past year. I guess half a year more realistically. I got every album of theirs in terms of studio albums aside from Little Creatures. It's the one that I don't have. And it's very odd because I swear I had bought it for someone and given it to them, and they claim that that I had never done that because they would remember. And it's weird because this is the person who kind of got me into the band because they had said they liked them so much, which is why I thought I had bought that record for them when I saw it. It was long before I had started listening to them. But either way, you know, if I didn't give it to them, did I just look at it and think about buying it, or did I buy it and trade it? Like, I don't know what I did with it. Either way, I know at one point or another I held that album in my hands on vinyl. But I don't possess it currently, so it's the one that I'm missing. Anyway, long story short, I got all their studio albums aside from Little Creatures on vinyl, although I do have it on cassette. And I started listening to some recordings on YouTube recently of their live album. The name of this band is Talking Heads, which is a double live album. It's two record set. The first one is they're recordings from between 1977 and 1979, and the second one I believe is recordings between 1980 and 1981. So it's a shorter period there than the first one. But either way, very cool record. Front cover is a bunch of photos of them playing, I guess, a house party, you know, playing a house concert. And then the back is a couple panoramic wide shots, kind of like of the band in their prime, in their peak. Now, if I open this up here, I like that they came in like the polyurethane sleeves. That wasn't bent before. I've done this. Anyway, yeah, I like that they came in the poly sleeves rather than the paper ones, because there's nothing I hate more than taking a record out of its sleeve and hearing it, you know, not rip, but you know that sliding sound that you get when the paper slides against the vinyl. This gives me the heebie-jeebies. Don't like it. And although they came in those sleeves, it also came with the original paper sleeves here. Probably in a higher quality paper than the originals would have been. Really great photos there. I'm not going to zoom in too much because I'm sure I'm going to do a whole review of this album at one point or another. Slightly disappointed though. I'm going to try and keep it short, but I had bought it and it was 25% off because it was new. Brand new, in the wrapping, you know, 2 sleeves around it, it's brand new. Never been open. So I open it and I come home and I play it. It's got like 2 or 3 skips where it'll just be this broken record. You know, it'll just continue the same, quarter of a second of sound on repeat until you get up and move the needle. So I was really disappointed because I paid $50 for it. The last thing you want, if it was a used copy, I wouldn't be so upset because if I took it home without listening to it first, then it's my fault. Most of these record shops that I go to have listening stations where you can test spin them. Couldn't do that obviously because it was a brand new record, so I brought it home and I was disappointed because I spent $100 on this thing and it doesn't work. Throughout, right? So I went back. I called the store and politely and kindly explained my situation with it, and they said just bring it back. If we have another copy, we'll give it to you. If we can order another copy and we don't have one in store, we'll order one for you. If not, we'll just give you your cash back. So I brought it in. They traded me for a new one, and this one also has some skipping issues. The first song, New Feeling, the first couple lyrics, it just skips over them right into the second stanza of lyrics, and it's like it just rubbed me really the wrong way after trading it in and having the same issue in a different spot. I was like, oh boy, I really hope that the rest goes smoothly, right? Unfortunately, it started skipping again in the same spot that the last copy had, repeating itself. But it didn't continue to repeat itself. The other one, if I'd left it, it would just loop forever. This copy, I guess isn't as badly defective. Not sure how that makes sense, but it mustn't be as damaged from the factory or handling it, because it'll skip and loop that point like 2-3 times, maybe 4, and then it'll just continue. So I can deal with that. Not the end of the world. But that's 2 skips already, right? And then the last issue was that on the last song, Take Me to the River, there's another skip where I would, need to move it. The needle, that is. And I kind of got frustrated and I just put a little bit of pressure on the head of the needle, and it's probably not good for it. I wouldn't recommend doing this. But I put a tiny little bit of pressure on it with my finger as to try and guide it through the groove it's supposed to be going through rather than having it skip again. And it went through, and I played it over again just to see if it would just play through without me having to interfere, and it did. So I'm imagining that helped a little bit. That all aside, I might not go back and bitch about this one because it is more functional, although it should be fully functional considering I paid full price for it and it was brand new. And rand. And in the video, I'll show you the last thing I picked up. Rainier Frog. Rainier Frog. Ha! Rainier Fog by Alice in Chains. And this is the new incarnation, or newer. I guess they've been together for like 13 to 15 years now with William Duvall. But yes, with their newer singer. I want to say the replacement for Lane Staley, because no one could replace Lane Staley. The one who took his position in the band as singer. Great album, actually. Fantastic all throughout. I need to give it another listen. Both of these, I had heard the name of this band, the Talking Heads, already. But this I hadn't listened to throughout, and I listened to it last night when I was I probably should have been sleeping. So I need to give it another listen. It came with a digital download card, so I'm really happy about that. I can put it on my phone and listen to it more lucidly when I'm traveling via public transit. One of the cool things about this vinyl is it's got this cutout of an eye in the middle of it, right? And you can see the artwork pretty clearly. What I like is that if you take out the sleeve, you notice there's more artwork hidden behind the cover. And I like it. It's kind of like a collage of different images, I guess. And on the back of the sleeve you get the lyrics and liner notes. Nice 180 gram heavyweight vinyl. I really kind of wish that I had searched a little bit more for the transparent splatter version of it. I have one where it's clear vinyl, totally transparent, and then there's some black spatter coming outwards. Second record, there's like a 4-way photo of all the band members, I suppose. Really epic picture of Jerry Cantrell there, and William Duvall at the bottom. I apologize, I don't know the other 2 band members' names. I still have yet to sink my teeth into the band. Lastly, very last thing I should mention as well, this is what I was talking about with paper sleeves. Listen. Don't like that. Don't like that sound. Makes me uncomfortable. Makes me feel like I'm damaging the record simply by taking it out of its packaging. But until I get other sleeves for this, I will have to deal with it. Last thing I'm going to show you guys here is the 4th side. There's no music. This is the 3rd side. 4th side, there's no music on it. It's an etching. Seems to be a trend that a lot of musicians are doing now. Maybe it's so that they can sell it for more because there's 2 records rather than 1, even though it's only got music on one side of the second album. They put artwork on the 4th side to sell it. I don't know. I don't know exactly why they do it, but it's kind of a neat trend. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I like this one in particular because there is no label on the 4th side and the artwork goes into that area. I have the new Queens of the Stone Age album, Villains, and it's the same thing. On the 4th side, you get an etching. And it's a really cool etching, don't get me wrong, but in the middle it kind of gets cut off because there's a label and you're missing, the focal point of the image, which is kind of frustrating. But I digress. Here we are. Very cool etching on the back of this. I'll try and, move it around a little bit, just to ensure that I get it at a good angle, because I'm not looking at the screen anymore. I'm looking at the camera. Anyway, same theme, I guess, continues on the label though, with the eye and the fellow standing in the middle of what looks like a sun in the middle of a lake, experiencing the rainier fog. Or the rainier frog, as I said earlier. Anyway, yeah, that's the recent pickups. I picked those all up in the past couple days. I traded in my copy of the Downward Spiral because I want to pick up the, what would you call it, the definitive edition that has been released recently. Those are what the reissues of With Teeth and Year Zero are going to be. They're going to be the definitive editions on vinyl. Sounds kind of odd or funny because I think they've only been pressed on vinyl once, the original releases, seeing as those albums came out in 2005 and 2007 respectively. Yeah, I'm excited because I won't be able to find the originals of those for a low price, and these might not be cheap, but they'll be a lot less than the originals will be. So, looking forward to those coming out. That's the shit I got recently. I'll do some reviews in the near future. Keep it real, folks.